Welcome back, everyone, for our Saturday stream. So happy New Year to everybody. That if I haven't wished anybody a happy New Year yet, this is my good time, I guess, to do that. So happy New Year. Hopefully, 2021 is much better than 2020 was. 'Cause that was crap. But tonight we are going to be going back over Murder of the Gray State. So the Crowley family murders. For those that are not familiar with the case. Oh, thank you, Sophia. I appreciate that. Happy New Year to you as well. Tonight we're going to be going over police statements, or rather, police reports, and we're going to be referencing the 911 transcript as well. I haven't actually had a chance to fully go through and highlight everything on that yet, but through the entire police report, I guess you call it like a grouping, I guess. So when they were all compiled and everything, I did go through all of those. I picked out actually the most what's the best word for it? Not necessarily the juiciest, but the parts that actually are relevant. There's parts in there that I did that too in the Discord. And actually, I'll be bringing it up right now so everybody can see. Once again, referencing the Discord. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. It's under statements. I have everything from it's all alphabetical, not ordered by time. So that's something I considered, but I figured it would be easier just to kind of search it this way. So that way, if you're interested in what anybody had said, things like this. Most of the reports were also done by Officer Bone and Officer Booth. I think Gummert did quite a few as well, but Bone was definitely the one doing quite a bit of the work for the police reports. So there's quite a few different interesting details in here. Few parts to kind of really note here. The family is mentioned. You'll see some of the emails, things like this. They are you're only going to really hear about the mom. I think it's 2 or 3 times throughout the entire thing. And she's also the one who had a really, really mysterious death as well. Oh, sweet. Absolutely. That'd be fantastic to have. Appreciate that. So we're going to go over that in just a second, but just to kind of show you guys, this is organized by that. And once again, if you guys do want to go and just go over the full report, I do actually have it highlighted and all this. I haven't actually had a chance to go through and index it, but that's my next thing I'm planning on doing for this as well. And for those that also missed the live stream with Greg and Sophia, I have in here, let me bring it up real quick. If anybody does want to see those, the new, the infographics with the pictures, and I'm not going to say they're necessarily the best pictures, but when it comes for kind of showing off, when I'm trying to show off, they're the best pictures for them. So we created this one. Well, I created this one. It was last Thursday or last Wednesday. It was something like this. I ended up completing this, so you can actually go and reference each and every photograph, and this is how all of them will be. I also have another couple I'm going to show off before we get into the reports as well, because I just really want to go and show that, yes, I am trying to go and get these things answered. So if people want to go and reference this, you can reference the original photos as well. But that's where I'm going to be trying to get everybody to go, hey, go check out the Facebook group, go check out the Gray Stage, go check out the Ugly Truth .info. That way everybody can kind of, I think it's .info. I could be wrong, but I'll get that reference here in just a second, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, uglytruth.info, and that's going to be Dan Hennon's perspective plus information about the case. And then for Greg's, you can check out thegraystage.wordpress.com. But we're going to get right into the rest of the stuff here. So I went in the living room. I found this one here. I really wanted to go over the Allahu Akbar, since it does technically pertain to the toilet to some degree, especially if we are confirming that it's blood, which once again, very, very likely. But once again, there was no testing of it, which is really bizarre. But for this, I actually showed this is what hand would do, basically how it would be written out, or smeared out rather, or painted, if you'd rather. And I basically try to answer all the questions as best as I can. So, but I have another one I'm working on right now, which is the blood splatter, or rather the back spray, or back spatter, if you'd rather that as well. And that's going to be the one that basically it is. Where is it? It's the one like near the it goes into the hallway, back towards the bedroom and all this. So that I should have done hopefully tonight, but it could be a little bit longer than that. But yeah, that's what I've got so far for those. But like I said, this all the photos is going to start to kind of shrink down, in the Discord. So if you want to reference, once again, this is not meant to be a replacement for the Facebook or for either of the websites. This is just something we can quickly reference. If you have questions about things like this, it's just boom, it's right there. Got infographics made. I am planning on passing them around, but I'm just trying to kind of keep it more or less on the DL. So far as I know, I'm not being watched by any of the people too heavily, so that's good. I don't want anybody that I'm suspecting, or anybody that basically could get the information back to them is really watching per se. So right now I'm not perceived as a threat so far as I know. But that's basically why I'm not posting those up on Facebook, why I'm not posting them up on handing them up for website, or for anybody's websites, things like this. This is just if somebody wants to reference them, they can technically pull them. If they're a part of the group, they can. I'd rather they don't, but they can. So I'm just this is me just trusting. So, but once again, that's why I don't really want to go and post them up anywhere else quite yet. But all right. So first things first, let's go hop right on in. This first report's actually by John Broughton. And this was done, as you can see, it was the day of at 12:56 p.m. Let's see. So a synopsis is, let's see. I'm not really sure what the comp means exactly, but I reported seeing 3 dead bodies inside the home next door. And once again, with this information, you're going to be getting, who complained, who was mentioned, yada, yada, yada. It's basically going to be who the victims are and who called it in. So for this first one, we got Judy Prochnow. I should really stop using her name because it's like, one of those things I don't want to go and, summon her to this, to our stream or to our video. I'd rather not get harassed. So, but this is just going to kind of go over the basic information, who's who rather, that has to do with this police report here. And then it gets right into the statement. Now, this is everything. This is the meat and potatoes, everything here. So we're basically going to get in, who reported it, what they saw, if there's any kind of like advising, things like this, any kind of information about the report that pertains to this officer taking, or whatever their duty was, rather. They're going to have to write a report on this. So basically, Judy basically reported there was 3 dead bodies in the residence. And then, as you can see, Broughton was actually advised by Sergeant Dahlstrom that there were 3 dead bodies laying on the living room floor of the home. And so basically he was checking, okay, is there any kind of forced entry, things like this? I believe there's something there. I've been looking at a lot of the photos when it comes to the door, and this is the part I really want to kind of focus on is right. Okay, it's okay. I should probably remember this is not a word, so can't really highlight too well, but when looking at that side entrance, it looks like there could have potentially been a little bit. I'm still looking into that, but once again, it looked like there was a potential for it. As you guys probably saw, I think it was last stream. I think it was last weekend. Want to say it was when we looked at the side of the house, and we ended up seeing something that looked like could have been a camera, or maybe it was the camera, maybe it was pulled out, but it looked very similar to like some of the bases you can find or some of the cameras you can find on the market. So once again, just kind of little security cameras. They're meant to kind of blend in a little bit outside, so that way people don't necessarily know there's a camera looking at them. Let's see. Okay, so the interesting part here he notes is that the rear sliding patio door was open slightly. He's saying a little less than a quarter of an inch. When I looked at it, I don't know. I'm kind of convinced it was probably closer to an inch. But I mean, once again, I wasn't there. I could find a way to measure it. I just don't really want to. I mean, like I might have to actually go and take a time to actually do this. This is significant, and only for the reason of temperature in the home. And the reason this is significant here is because obviously the more open it is, the colder the temperature is going to be that's coming in there. So any kind of wind gust that could adjust, and which once again that affects the dead bodies. That's going to affect, for instance, decomposition is going to affect. It could potentially even air out the home a little bit. Now they said it was very, very strong. It was, I would dare say, overwhelming. Based on, in fact, right here, they even say overpowering odor of decaying flesh. So overpowering. So the more open it is, the more air it's going to, more aired out it's going to be. Not to mention all the dog poo and urine and all this. It was supposed to be everywhere. There was a bunch, but not as much as you'd expect. But it would have aired everything out. So once again, we're looking at things like if there's any kind of liquid, we're looking at drying things out potentially faster. We're potentially looking at is once again, the temperature set is 68. So once it drops below 68, kicks back on and goes from there. Basically just kind of get this temperature difference you're going to have. It's going to fluctuate. Then it's not going to just be 68. It's not going to just drop a little bit, maybe go a little above. It's not going to be like that. It's going to drop like a bit more. Once again, depends on how big the opening was on the door. Did not look very big, so it's not going to be too significant. I would actually argue that it's probably not too significant at all, rather, but it does. If it's less than a quarter of an inch, once again, if they're trying to open the door, it's already unlocked. There is really no need for it. They actually could have just left it closed, but I think that was more for the dog potentially. Other thing I noticed is we'll get into that in a sec when it comes to the back bedroom. I didn't see any mention of any room other than the main crime scene here. There's a little bit, that kind of mentions the attic, I guess, and there's things like this. They mention a few things, but they don't really go over what's in the photos. So after this report, I'm going to go over that very briefly because this has to do with the back door as well, potentially. And also pay attention to when looking at the photos. I will show you guys those real quick, just to kind of show you guys what we're basically seeing in the report. So we're looking at the back door. Oh, whoops, it's back door area. So we need outside. There we go. Let's see. Let's get to the back of the house. So this is notable. Okay, this photo here. The reason it's notable is you can see it here. There's clearly a light right here. So, and it looked like it was a sensor light. I'm still looking into it once again, because this is the part I just started kind of just reading about this just a little bit more in depth for this stream. So I'm all caught up. Let's see, where was it? And of course, if anybody doesn't remember this is what we're suspecting was potentially the camera. Other than that, I'm not really sure what the usage would be for this. So if anybody has any ideas, I am open entirely for that one. Completely keeping an open mind on that. I believe it's right here. So you can see this is a little open, not a whole lot. Wait. Nope, I'm incorrect. Nope, that's maybe I'm not. I don't know. Let me see where it's at again. Of course, you have another picture of that. See, the thing is they're taking a picture of this. This is relevance. Now, what it is, I don't know. But the thing to note here is Komal and David's bedroom is right here. It's from here to here. You also have the bathroom window as well. And then here is the kitchen right here and the dining room. And then here's the door. So this curtain was actually lifted up a little bit. So it looked like somebody was trying to look out. Okay, so if somebody's trying to look out, it's probably good reason. Sensor probably went off. Dog could have been barking. Numerous different things. We don't exactly know what happened with that part of it. So let me bring it up real quick. So right here, you can see it was open a little bit. Here it is. And there's some things to note on this as well. So we'll get back to the report in just a second. But so you can see it's clearly open. But the thing is, there's some matter down here that looked like it was actually from inside the home, which, yes, it could have just blown out. That is a possibility, but there would have had to have been some reason for it to actually get out, because it's not just going to blow out that easy. Come on, where is it? We got a better photo of it. And there, it's completely closed. Okay, so you can see right here, this is closed. Very, very clearly it's closed. So they didn't really do a good job of actually taking a picture. See, so they took kind of a distance. There's no real good way to actually see the distance. There is a way we can calculate it out and things like this, but let's see if I can find that photo where it shows the ground. But that's the part that's really, really relevant to this. It's really interesting. So once again, this could have been very easily multiple people. There could have been somebody in the house that was meant to kind of remain a little bit, somebody can keep everybody at ease, kind of keep them all distracted while the other two kind of come in. It could have been at least, I mean, I would argue it's at least 2 people. I think it's likely it's probably 3, potentially even 4. So, that one, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think so. I'm still trying to figure that one out myself, because when looking inside the house, bring that up real quick. We go to the living room. I mean, it's a possibility. See if I can find a better one to show it off. But see, the thing is, he's not going to fit through here. So we'd be looking at him coming up here. But the thing is, there would be signs that he was trying to get up there. See, and the thing is, like, there's nothing here. So, I mean, potentially, but the dog did not look big enough. If I'm being honest, did not look big enough. Looked like he might have been able to see like the top of his head, or if he stuck his snout up, then yeah, maybe you'd see that. But other than that, you're not really going to see it. Paleo is not that big. Once again, I mean, there's ways we can calculate out the height and length, all this kind of stuff. So if we already have the data for Paleo, great. Let's take a look at that and go from there. What is this? Oopsies. Oh, wow. Didn't know I could do that thing. Let's see. The blue yoga mat. I was standing up. Police entered and he didn't knock it off the knickknack. So how did he attack the window? And no, that's true. That's true. That is very true. So he was up on the. Well, I mean, that thing is, when it comes down to it, I mean, like, if we have the details about Paleo, like for instance his height, weight, or well, rather length, weight, we can actually see what he'd be able to do. Is some of this looks like it was kind of pushed a little bit, but once again, maybe. I mean, this doesn't look like it's necessarily being pushed, but this is kind of an odd place to kind of put this. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd. You'd figure this would be over this way more. I mean, maybe that's what could have happened too. Maybe this was actually over this way more. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't see him attacking the window. I could maybe see them, maybe him like, trying to like hit up on the shelving there. But I mean, there's nothing really. Actually, hang on. I think there might be one way. No, because nothing's really shoveled over here. So no, I don't think it's likely. I think that part of the story is incorrect. They probably heard him, but I mean, once again, we can argue kind of devil's advocate on this one. This is pretty easy to argue on that. They could just basically be like, well, we heard him barking and just, memory kind of blanking on this, and we just thought he was attacking. I mean, they could easily just argue that. So, but yeah, exactly. He could have been on the couch. We could argue that one, barking. But once again, it's like if the dog is someplace, like let's say if we're on a couch, Let's bring that over on the chair. Once again, he'd have to be like barking, like super, super loud. Yeah, really trying to get his attention. So I can find one that's. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Is the thing that I'm getting at here. I think it's possible. Yeah, if he would have got up on the couch, and just started barking. I mean, honestly, I don't see the dog jumping. And this looks like it was kind of scattered a little bit here potentially. So maybe he came up here and was like up on the tables. He doesn't look very heavy. So there's that too. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I caught a neighbor looking in one of my neighbors' houses, yeah, oh, perfect. Let me bring it up real quick. Making sure nobody can see this. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay, sweet. Okay, so we got 12:56. Judy calls. 12:59. AVPD officers dispatched. Patrol arrives. So I mean, wow, that's actually an 8-minute response time. That's not bad. Pretty decent average. I mean, let's see. 3 people entered. Cleared the residence. Discover a rear slider. Okay, let me do this. Okay, we'll go like. Oops. Are you okay if I just copy and paste this into like the WordPad document and we just kind of just run through it? Okay, perfect. We'll do that then. Oops. Alrighty. I'll put it in the Word document, or the WordPad documents. There we go. It doesn't look like it's all of it though. Definitely does not look like all of it. Let me bring that up again. Oh, it was. Okay, perfect. So, oopsies. There we go. Put the D there. All right. So 12:56, Judy calls. Then we get the Apple Valley Police Department. They're dispatched. They show up at 1:04. Then we get our officers here. Let's see. Broughton discovered a rear slider cracked open. Okay, so this happened and then this happened. I think that's the right order, correct? Okay, I can get an infographic made for it if you'd rather, and we can post that, and it can be like a nice little PDF or something. So I mean, that wouldn't take me very long to do. It's just a copy paste. I can adjust, make it, Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, I went to school for it, so might as well use my my skill set I paid for, but not using, except for my videos and stuff. So might as well, right? All right, let's see. Okay, so then we got Paleo Coke Stout. So I mean, that's like right after. So not long after they get Paleo out. Post officers to secure the crime scene. Booth starts the crime scene log. All right, so here's all the basic stuff then. All right, perfect. This is nice though. I like this. And this part I'm really finding interesting too. So we should, I don't know if it's relevant, but maybe seeing if we can get the video footage for that too might, it's not going to be like proving anything super useful, I don't think, but we can basically confirm what these reports are saying. Because I mean, let's be honest, our police, are they often like 100% like accurate with what they're doing? No, not really. As much as I'd like them to be, I know they're not. So, all right, let's go back over it. Let's see. Gummert. Okay, so then we start getting the times again. All right, so Gummert receives the call from Dahlstrom. Gummert arrives at the police station to assist other detectives and to get a search warrant signed by a judge. See, that's the part that's always weird about this, is like securing the crime scene and then, having to go get the warrant for it. That just seems it's kind of frustrating, actually. It's like you have to do, like, you can go secure it, but you can't really do any searching or anything like this, but yet they do already at this point. So interesting. Let's see. Okay, so then the crime scene guys were on route. Bone and Booth processed the house crime scene. And this is after they got their warrant, so that's good. Now this is going to be useful, actually. So we can actually expand on this, and we can actually put it to the crime scene. Do we have the exact like rooms and everything? Like which ones they went and oh, for the video you guys tried to get the FOIA, but they wouldn't give it to you? That's bizarre. Okay. Interesting. Well, we can always potentially spam, get multiple people to go do it. And then see what they do. I mean, they could just get annoyed and just be like, oh, okay, well, we'll give it up and not realize maybe there's something there then. If they're not giving something up, it means there's probably something there. That's curious. Okay. I think it'd be really relevant to see which rooms every single one of them, like, no kidding. Well, looks like it's my turn. Can't say I've ever filled one out, so I might be asking for a little assistance on that. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'll see if I can get some other people involved with it, just kind of get the FOIAs at least. Yeah, I really wish we had kind of like, I don't know if we have knowledge of like which rooms that those are the ones that went in first. Broughton, Dahlstrom, and Keel ended up going and like checking first. So they cleared the whole house, but it would be nice to know which ones they, in order. So, could that be relevant? Absolutely. That could be relevant for, was any evidence actually touched? Was blood actually like smeared, because of them, or And the really weird thing about all this is, see, if you look at some of the photos, now this is the part that I find very, very interesting. Let's see if I can find the ones on the floor. This coagulated blood. So some of this could have still been relevant to test. Carbon dating rather. I looked. I think that it's not like a perfect science or anything. It's not it's something that can't be disputed. But it once again, it gives us some kind of idea of an actual time frame of like when everybody was shot. It's better what we kind of have right now. Right now, we have our theories, and we can basically break down a timeline for everything else, like when people supposedly heard gunshots, when they had seen all that. But let's see, find it. It's this big old like globs. Like you can, it's pretty clear. Did I pass it? I think I did. Where is it? It's on 18. Yeah, my next infograph I'm making for the splatter, you can actually see the cone, because there will be a conal back spray, and that's the part that's rather interesting. Is you can go from there. You can basically figure out where the bullet was fired. More often than not, it's usually right there in the. Depending if there's an artery or something like that's hit, it's going to be just dead center in the cone generally. Not always though. Been researching that quite a bit. And it's kind of a rough one to look at. Oh, here it is. So when you see here, this is coagulated blood and everything. Serum's gone. That's already dried up and gone. But that would have been like the clear substance around it. Well, the whole thing with the carbon dating is basically that's the big thing. We can actually get kind of a timeline. That's why when people look at the blood splatter, the first thing people are looking at, oh, no kidding. If he's got that, that would be perfect. We can basically figure that out then. We can add that and we can actually like add that to the timeline and go from there and actually see what we can find from there. But this timeline is great though. I like it. Thank you. I totally appreciate it. Thanks. I'll have something. I'll have it made up tonight, and then I'll post that directly into the Facebook group. I'll send you one first. That way you got it. I'll send one to you, Catherine, Dan, and Greg. Just like the main people, so that way you guys all got it, and then I'll put it in the group as well, so people can actually like just check it out. But I think that's going to be really relevant. Is once we can get this thing like 100% perfected, like we know directly when which rooms were cleared first. We can basically did they tamper with anything. And if we got the audio, that means we should be able to hear like footsteps, and all that as well. So that could be really, really useful actually. Because then we can actually hear if they like stepped on any like metal, then we know they're probably hitting something like, for instance, like the bullet casings, things like that. Oh shoot! Wait, it was like your account was purged, like as in like Facebook just said nope, we're getting rid of it. Ah, jeez. Yeah, Facebook and their purges. Actually, surprised I haven't been purged yet. As some of the things I post. That's what I get also for posting anything about COVID and election stuff, things like that. Oh wow. Yeah, they're usually. I could have sworn they're supposed to do more than that. I think you're supposed to get like 2 or 3 30-day 30-day bans, and then they delete the account. Last I heard, because I have a friend that I work with, and he's been banned. Like he's had like bans like multiple times, and he keeps going back. So yeah, that's weird. Once again, though, I mean, Facebook. We all know they have bias and things like this. And was that banned this year? Yeah, there's I almost got thrown in Facebook jail for thanks to those fact checkers. I literally just posted links when I was doing the details about. Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me then. Does not surprise me. Yeah, anybody that was doing anything positive for the president at all, yeah, they would totally get hit. Posting memes, things like this, yeah. But no, that's the thing. Like, yeah, Facebook, like they're pretty nasty when it comes to their censoring. I'm hoping this whole Section 230 thing, like, it's gone. That's what I'm hoping, they just get rid of it. I don't even want to have it amended. Just get rid of it. Hold everybody, hold all these like the big tech and everything, hold them accountable. Let's see. So we'll go over this some more. So Broughton said he was not locked or secured with a bar lock. Once again, there was that overpowering odor of decaying flesh. So now let's see. As we're going through, we should get something when they get back to the room. As I think there is something for the bedroom here. As remember what I was talking about in the stream with you and Greg, we talked about the bathroom and how there would have been, an overpowering smell due to the urine, if there was urine in that toilet, and they didn't talk about that. And that's the thing. Even with the blood, it would have still been very, very, would have been something to note here. But I'm not seeing anything. This just goes to the living room, it looks like, and that's about it. Yeah. So it's looking like. So, and then it goes on to Dahlstrom from there. And let's see. So he basically just kind of talks about when he arrives and then goes from there. They all, and the thing is to note here, and the reason I have these all highlighted here, you're going to see several obviously dead bodies lying on the floor. There's 3 dead bodies on the floor. Things like that. They're basically highlighting the same exact thing they're seeing. It's noteworthy. And the reason it's noteworthy is, once again, they also have the same thing, so therefore it is there. They talk about a black handgun. I mean, honestly, the gun looked more like kind of greenish, but let's see. And they talk about the dog as well. So once again, very noteworthy stuff. So they also the same thing. So he was at the west side of the residence waiting for backup to arrive. Once Broughton and Becker arrived a short time later, Dahlstrom advised the 2 officers of his findings. And then at that point, which once again, we don't know directly where he was at. I'm assuming he went to the front of the home. But if he was on the west side, regardless, at that point, if he's smelling the odor there's dead bodies here. Now, how did anybody else notice that? That'd be my question here. Not to mention there would be a breeze going through, things like that. So why didn't anybody, oh crap. There we go. Let me bring this up a little bit. There we go. This is Dahlstrom. No. Here it is. If they could smell it from the west side of the house or the front, wherever they're at, then that's strong enough that if a little slight breeze picked up in any direction, whoever's in that general direction is going to be getting that smell a little bit. That's basically what you're going to see here, is like people would be taking note of that. They would be like, "Whoa, something died! What the hell?" Not the case though. So that's really bizarre as well. Let's see. They a productive sweep of the residence, looking for additional victims or hazards. Basically, when they say hazards, I'd be assuming, okay, maybe they're still looking for, maybe if there's somebody else there. There could have been things like explosives. I mean, just kind of covering real quickly, which once again, they're looking for explosives. They're fools. Don't do that without an explosives team. But once again, I know they do that kind of stuff as well. Like, just briefly, is there anything else here? Is there people here? Is there suspects? So check garage, then the main level. That doesn't tell you the order in the main level, which is important. And then the basement. So main level, living room is located with 3 decaying bodies, 2 adults, 1 child. All were heavily decayed. Of course, they have all this redacted. I don't know why. That doesn't, I don't understand. What's so important that they had to redact here? I noticed several bloody footprints on the floor. There was a few, not several. In the area between the kitchen and living room. We left the area undisturbed and left the residence. Okay. So, and that's where that ends. So once again, this is just kind of noteworthy just for, okay, this guy was here. It confirms directly what Broughton had seen. Of course, I skip over all this because there's literally not really anything here. It's just kind of confirming that, okay, there's all these people here, their birthdays, things like this. It's not super relevant. This is going to be relevant when it comes to putting together kind of a map of where each neighbor is, which I'm also in the process of doing. And this one technically, I believe, is for Gummerts. Nope, never mind. Melissa Ray Nelson. So Oh, it's for supplement report for Officer T. Becker. Okay, so this is basically Becker's report, but once again, who wrote this? This is going to be Melissa Ray Nelson. Once again, confirming bodies in the residence. Okay, so if we go off of now, we need to see this because now we've seen 3 people talking about Judy posting about dead bodies on the floor and the inside. So this is the part I want to show you guys. It's a little bit odd. She's kind of got these different things she says about it. So I'll go ahead and I'll skim through reading her responses. It's a lot of the stuff she kind of goes over very briefly. Just doing her thing, explaining what they're asking, basically getting them the answers they need. Let's see. Okay, so there were Christmas presents on the stoop, so I went over there, and there's a dog in the house, and there's definitely some bodies in the living room. Okay, that confirms it. That's fine. This is the part that I find really weird. Okay, so she says, hey, it just looks like there's a pile of bodies, and one like the head is eaten off. Okay. That's telling me, once again, where she's looking, she didn't go all the way up to the door. She went to the door, she would have seen Komal was also missing her head as well. So she basically went up midway, maybe, into the window to see. That's enough to see the bodies. I mean, obviously, you could probably see them a little farther out than that, I would argue. But I'm not going to, it doesn't really matter too much. That basically, she said only David's head was gone at that point. I suppose by the dog and I, just my husband thought they were dummies, but the hands look real. Okay, so the hands, you mean the hand you saw, one hand, wouldn't be able to probably tell too well of Renea's hand. There was only 2 hands at the place. So is she talking about Renea and David? Once again, I think this is more or less she was kind of just like shook up a bit, but let's see. All their Christmas lights are still in the house, and there's my husband. He saw a gun. Yeah, it's on the floor. Let's see. It would be a husband, wife, and child. Okay, blah, 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 blah. None of this doesn't really matter. Okay, so you saw the gun on the floor. Okay, so yes, my husband saw it. He's not here right now. He's talking to the other neighbor. We hadn't seen any movement over there. We just thought they were gone for Christmas, and we came back from Florida this week, and they still hadn't. I'm assuming, basically hadn't left the house or hadn't arrived back or hadn't taken the presents. So there's something there. Why it's not a lot, I don't know. And the presents were still there, so my husband went over there to check. Okay. I got a feeling he's probably a Scrooge. He probably went over there to go take the presents. I don't know. Yeah, and that's the other thing. See, if the window's about 4.5 feet off the ground, I mean, then, that's, how tall are they? They're not super tall. Let's go take a look at the front of the house. Front of the house. Yeah, you can see it right here. So yeah, they're probably like sitting here about this height. Yeah, probably about this height or so, I would guess. So by looking in the house, you're not going to see things too easily. Is there a better photo of the front? I've also been checking for the windows. Is there's like reflections in the living room? You can actually see the bodies too as well. And this is a little bit better. Are we sure it's about 4.5 feet? So if we're sure on that, then we can actually start getting to walk up to them and look in. Yeah, no, that's they definitely look that way. So if that's true, once again, they just kind of came up probably midway. Oops. Let's take a look again. We'll open up the original for it so we can zoom in a bit. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So, yeah, it looks like they came up to right about here. So come up to here. Okay, we can actually go and actually look at this. We can actually cross-reference it now. We'll go to living room. So they're looking in around this range right here. So if they're looking at it from this range, find the one that actually shows it off a little bit better. Yeah, she would have been able to see Como was missing her head. So. Oh, he's actually been inside. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, that's the thing. When it comes down to it, I mean, she would have been able to see Como was missing a head. She would have been able to see Rania, and she would have been able to see everything. She would have been able to see this entire area right here. So that's already kind of shooting down her statement here. I mean, a pile of bodies, you can only see there's 3. And they were not piled on top of each other. There was literally Rania's that was kind of piled, but I wouldn't call it a pile. So let's see. Let's see. What else does she say? Okay, here's Colin. Let's see. What time was this when he made the call? You have that on the transcript? So Judy calls at 12:56, but when did... We don't even know when he called. I'm assuming it's probably around the same time. The thing is, my question is, why do they both need to call? And the thing is, if it's around the same time, first thing she mentions, this is the weird part. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. It's right here. Judy Prochnow, boom. So 12:56. She's already confirmed it's a murder or suicide. This makes it suspicious. Well, but once again, we don't actually have like a timeline for her, so. Oh yeah, no, she's her stuff here. It's very, yeah. Oh yeah, no. The thing is, I think I don't think she was given like an actual like script on what she had to say per se, but I think she had key points. She was probably like, okay, I need to say this, I need to say that. I don't, but then again, I can't say she's necessarily scripted either. It feels rather natural, but it just feels like she was shook up, and I think she's kind of playing on it. Like she's trying to play this victimhood. Is basically kind of what it seems like. She's trying to play victimhood, like she's this great victim, and we should really feel sorry for her, and we should give her all of our attention. No, we shouldn't. No, all she and her husband did. They called, and she even stated she didn't like David. Everything she had stated after seeing only a couple times, doesn't like the guy. Okay, fine, whatever. Some people do that, but she's not relevant to the case then. But she keeps interjecting herself, which is rather bizarre. Her being a control freak does make sense to some degree for that, but it is so bizarre that she's interjecting. And once again, what do we see? The types of people we see interjecting themselves in the case are generally the ones that are involved with the case, which is the problem here. She makes herself a part of the case, and it's not good for her, especially with some of the things we know about her. I'm not going to go and share them, of course, but we know some things about her. So her interjecting herself is still, yeah, that's a big problem. So and see, the thing that's kind of weirded me out is how calm she is through part of it. Just part. This part here. Okay, so if I'm facing and looking at your house, Judy, would it be I mean, very quick to answer that. It looks like this person was literally just trying to go and finish. So would it be the house to the right or left? She interjects herself at the would it be? that's odd. I can't say that's a normal thing. That is something very, very odd. So, but this is the part that doesn't make any sense. It's a pile of bodies, and one, like, the head is eaten off. Okay, it wouldn't necessarily mean the head is eaten off. And I did plenty of research on this with the hollow point. If there was hollow points used, 2 shots in, from Como is possible. For David, it's impossible. His head to be blown off. And even then, for the dog to actually go that above and beyond eating the head, once again, the dog would have moved on. That's the case as well. But once again, or you would have seen one body that was just massively eaten, and we didn't. So this is already an oddity as well. That's what it seems like. She's still in shock by it, but she does seem like she kind of knew it was going to be asked, which tells me that she'd probably practiced or had kind of rehearsed it. Once again, this is just an assumption here, but doesn't necessarily mean it happened. No, but it does seem like where it's kind of like she kind of knew what was going to be asked of her and what she'd have to kind of go and say. So her interjecting, like I said, with the whole, that's odd. I mean, but once again, I can't say it's like this like great oddity that confirms anything. I can't. It's not confirming anything, obviously, but it does basically show that she was calm, but she's also trying to rush through it. Why she's trying to rush through it, once again, I believe at the end, at the very end, it says, yeah, this part here. This is the part that's really interesting. Okay, so they thought they were gone for Christmas. Haven't seen any movement. There hasn't been anything movement there since before Christmas. They haven't shoveled. Excuse me, I think I have to throw up. Okay, why does she have to throw up? Unless, once again, there was a breeze or whatever, and then the smell got over there. But once again, it's coming from the back. So was she in the back? Well, she basically said she hadn't. They were stuck to the front, and then Tuppy tried to go in, I believe, through the back. But other thing I want to go and take a look at real quick. So if we're looking at the residence, so here's Tuppy. Her house is right here. And obviously there's a chain link fence. You can see back here, it's also a chain link fence. So nobody is going to be walking through the back. So this part's kind of interesting here. Okay. So they have a little gate here, but there's no gate to get into the back, which means somebody could have easily parked. Let's see, as we know, we got the wooden fence behind that. So we can get a better picture of that. Appears to be chain link back here as well. So there's wood and then there's chain link. So definitely noteworthy, I'd say. Somebody could have easily come over through another yard. I think it's likely they probably parked near the front and then kind of went from there. But yeah, no, when it comes to like, why has she got to throw up? That doesn't make any sense. Because she saw the dead bodies and all of a sudden, oh, I got to go throw up. I mean, she's not going to be seeing it too clearly. I mean, she'd have to have really, really weak stomach. So that's a possibility. This is just kind of okay. I don't understand. She'd have to have that weak of a stomach, but who knows? She probably does, but let's see. And then of course Collins, there's like nothing there. So I don't understand why they're redacting this either, because their numbers are up here. So, um, okay, so let's see. Let's see who's P. Speak. Oh, Prachna probably dispatcher and Prachna. Okay, so and we were out of town the first week in January, and when we left, the presents were on the front step, and I told my wife, I didn't notice them the other day because I didn't look, but I said I'm gonna run over and see if those presents are still there, and they are. And he doesn't answer his cell phone because the neighbor next to him on the other side has his cell phone number. So this is yeah. See, so he called after. So this his seems um a little scripted. Hers, she seems like she was kind of coached. I can't really confirm anything like that. Once again, there's no way we really can, but yeah, exactly. Why not before? Why not upon seeing the dead bodies? And if she did, then we're looking at, okay, well, where's the vomit? There's no vomit here, but we can see where they came up, and they just kind of came up right here. So if they're looking in from here, yeah, you can see everything. Not to mention there was lights on, so they could see. So you can even see it directly from here. See, some of these pictures they took, I find them suspicious, but most of them I kind of find most of their pictures they took were quite useless. Like mostly taking multiple like duplicates and everything. Essentially, like what was the point of it? So, all right, let's keep going. So, okay, so Broughton observed that the rear sliding glass door was ajar. They took photos. This is Melissa Ray Nelson going in for writing the report for Becker. So Becker took digital photographs of the residents, including the nearby neighbors' residences, and of this residence. Located the mailbox station. The east residence took a photograph. Took a picture of the mailbox labeled 1051. Let's see. So then we get Tuppy's statement. Tuppy's the one who had David's cell phone. See, the thing is Tuppy seemed like her side was like those neighbors were closer. I mean, none of the neighbors were actually at the birthday party for Renia. We know that, but Tuppy seems like she was the closest neighbor to David and his family. And see, so the Prachnas already at this point had seen what was inside. So this is after. I believe isn't that what your thing says on here? I believe. Okay, so this is just before. Okay. She thought he was an artist, and see, the thing is she seems to have this kind of better view of him, and that's the thing. So with the Prachnas, I don't know why they had such a problem with David. Well, rather, Judy did. I don't understand that, but she doesn't have to Karen it up. That's she wants to be a Karen. She can be a Karen, I guess. Karen Prachna. There we go. Oh, that call was never made. So Tuppy never actually called. Interesting. Hmm. But then again, if the phone is dead, and it's So it's obviously off. I mean, would it actually reach the service? I mean, I don't guess it would go straight to voicemail, but she didn't leave one, so that's true. But yeah, she would have went actually just straight to voicemail. Then again, I mean, I've also had calls that don't pop up my caller ID or even in my recents, and people have called. So yeah, that's true. It's true. Um, so that makes this a little suspicious then. But then again, isn't this the number like his former number? Interesting. Do we know which Gray State guy it was? Well, the reason I ask is if she was calling. Oh, that's true. That's true. So they got the phone records for the previous number too, didn't they? Okay. Interesting. Hmm. Well, I mean, she lied to the police. I don't necessarily think hers is like intentional per se, but we don't have the photos of Tuppy's shoes either, do we? Interesting. Yeah, and this is the part that makes it really weird because Colin indicated that he had heard and saw the dog inside the Crowley residence early that morning. I mean, he had been up. He had literally been all the way up to it. Unless he saw the dog. But once again, I mean, even looking at this from the street, we also don't know how early that morning, but I mean, we can see in from this angle and from this distance, but I mean, it's a possibility he could have seen the dog, but once again, this looks like it's covering where the couch was. So there's really like unless the dog was up on the chair, which could be visible from there. It's the only way I see that as possible is if the dog was up on the chair. Yeah, this is the statements are that's the whole point here though is the all the reports are there's kind of some info that it doesn't make any sense and once again the Prochnals and a few other people have like you can either see it was a clear lie or mistaken. Once again, some of the people that are suspected in this case, by myself, just kind of throw my own opinion out there. Those that I suspect my opinion, I feel are kind of suspect in this case. Um, they give off straight up lies. So let's see. Between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. between the 2nd and the 19th. see, the thing is we can see this is a somewhat consistent noise. Like, people heard it, didn't do anything about it. Didn't see how many gunshots. Didn't contact law enforcement, which is also odd. See, the thing is, though, this is the part that also doesn't make any sense. Checked out his front door, didn't see anything. Checked out the back of his residence, didn't see anything. Thought it was fireworks. So the gunshots were still going on at this point. Gunshots and fireworks sound completely different. That's the problem I have. Adam Sandberg? Or is it the Chambord? Six times in an hour and a half. That's bizarre. Do we know what time he had called? Was it like before the police got there and everything? That could mean something too. Calling us six times. I mean, that's a bit overkill. I mean, really, honestly, all he had to do to kind of which would kind of prove his innocence right at the bat. 1 and 2 a.m. and 2 times at 3:17. So that's really bizarre because you'd figure a lot of people were generally asleep around this time. David had a kid. I mean, him and Coma had a kid. So I go to bed 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning generally, but that's also because I'm also working on all sorts of other things. Either the Discord stuff, it'd be on investigating the crime further, my other videos I'm trying to go and push out rather, and then video for this stuff, and also covering infographics. I'm busy, so I'm up that early, but why call 4 times between 1 and 2 a.m. and then 2 more at 3:17? That doesn't make any sense. You're looking at the time frame too. And this is all based on David's time, correct? So the Minnesota time, that'd be what, Central Time? Okay. So let's do. It's 11:15 right now, so they were like a total of 2-hour difference. Okay, so when he was calling, that's calling like 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and then 2 more at 1:17. So interesting. Did he ever? I don't recall if he actually did get interviewed by the police. Did he ever get interviewed at all? So he got interviewed. That's something also. Especially somebody calling that many times. Yeah, he should have been interviewed then. That's bizarre. Why is he calling 6 times in that time frame? But we have the call logs though, like December and January. Okay. Are those up on Dan or Greg's websites? If they are, this works out great then. Greg's? Okay, perfect. Maybe it's under this one then? Okay, here it is. Perfect. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, he's got some calls that are early. But it doesn't look like him on average. It doesn't look like he's talking that early in the morning, though. Because with this, I can almost dare say we could actually figure out his schedule for kind of like sleep and stuff. Interesting. These are all David's numbers, right? Yeah. Terminating, so yeah, it should be. We'll go like this. Copy, Control F. All right. Okay, and then looks like he made the call, but then again, is that his old number? Interesting. Wasn't it like September, October when they? Yeah, it would have been like what, October, I think, isn't it? When they terminated the number. The alarm said. Oh, and it's forwarded. Okay, I see. There's forwarded. Say the 26th, the last day he had used it. Interesting. And here's his new phone, I think. Okay, so most of his calls aren't very long either, it doesn't look like. Yeah, he just stays in the same exact area too, as you just stated. Interesting. $12.24. Interesting. Okay, so let's. What's this 512 number though? That's interesting. Let's see, what is a 507 area code? That's Cali, isn't it? Nope, Minnesota. Wait a second. Hang on. I could be overthinking that one. Oh. Oh. On the 21st. We're seeing his number here. Holy hell. That's trippy. Why are we seeing him call? Because at this point, he would already know. Let me see if we can find it real quick. We're going to go and just kind of look at a different one. It's a different... See, was it Bone or was it Booth that ended up... Actually, wait, I'll just do it this way. It's faster. Okay. So, Danny Mason. Okay, and this was on the 21st. Okay, when this was posted. Okay. It's on the 19th. Okay, why is he calling that number then? He was next to talk to him. Yeah, that's odd. That is really, really bizarre. Why is he calling on the 21st? Especially because, I mean, it would have been one thing if it was just once. This is twice. And it looked like he called both numbers. Okay, let's see. We're going to go and copy this one. I'm curious now. Two. So it shows here too on November 3rd. And that was an out call. So David had called him. Oh, that is bizarre. Yeah. That's true. So this is where your theory lies, is based on the phone records, then mostly. Well, combined with all the other stuff kind of going on. And we could talk about it in private too. I totally get that. But that's interesting. This changes some things. Oh man. Looks like I'm gonna have to do some little background number checks here. What is this number? 206. Yeah, no, they definitely are. It's Texas, isn't it? No. Oh, whoa. Seattle. Oh, that makes things some weird. That's a weird number to be calling. Who is in Seattle? Interesting. I'm gonna do something real quick. Like, I'm just gonna look it up, the actual number, to see who it is. It's potentially a spammer, it looks like. I'm going to send you this real quick through Facebook and bring it up real quick. Right. There's this. And this is the number I just pulled. Okay, so there's that. Then if we're looking at this, it doesn't even pop up actually on there. I don't see anybody on there that I actually recognize. It looks like a spam caller personally. Oh. Interesting. My question is, why is he calling in November though? He's calling a lot. And that was even up until the 16th he was calling. Interesting. This guy talked to him a lot. That's really bizarre. Oh, yeah. Oh, I sent it to you on Facebook. So I didn't see anybody on that list that actually looked like the person you just mentioned. Interesting. So one of his producer's friends. I don't understand. Why was he? There's got to be a reason he was talking to him so frequently too. Okay, well, we'll get going through this then real quick. Go up a little farther back to where we were at. All right, it's John Broughton, Dahlstrom. That was weird. Okay, this is where we were just at then. Perfect. So it said they were scattered. See, that's the thing, is I could have sworn there was somebody else saying something else about that. Oh, well, that's right. I can always just give it to you on here. So there you go. Let's see. That's the thing. Is like nobody in this neighborhood really knew them at all. That's the thing. It's like you'd figure there'd be some conversation a little more than there was. I mean, they were there for a year, so. Let's see. Piles of dog feces all over the floor. There was not piles of dog feces. That's the other part that's really alarming here is the fact that like they're calling them piles. It's almost as bad as Judy here. Okay, and this is the interesting part because they had 3 to 4 hours, I think is what they said, of footage of just recording from the front of the house, see who is coming and going, and things like this. Which the thing is, if it was somebody that was really concerned with the crime itself, they're kind of like kind of like how some serial killers do. They go back to the scene of the crime, they go watch. We would have seen somebody potentially there. Once again, these guys seem rather proud of what they did. So Gummert finally. See, and the thing is, this is how I'm seeing this. See, David seemed like he was a pretty well kept and organized guy. Once again, we see that in his garage. I mean, we see his office. It was pretty well organized, but then we see all this area that's like it's not. So that doesn't make much sense to me either. So that tells me that that's a little bit of a red flag there. And of course, all the actual guns were taken from the scene. I would laugh if some of those, like the prop guns, were taken too, just like taken into like holding just because they're like, oh, this, those are some guns there. No, they're not. You can clearly tell they're not. I mean, with their level of work they're doing here, I would kind of assume that's what would happen, since they did a really shoddy job moving evidence all over the place and not noticing things and all of that, just really bizarre. Okay, who is saying this? Okay, this is the people behind the house. This person is. Okay, I don't remember the person's name. We'll find it. Hadn't seen anyone at the house since the weekend before Christmas, school break. I believe the daughter had started school and that the mom was a stay-at-home mom. Never heard the couple fight. So that right there, that should be kind of a thing right there. If any of their like disagreements and things, they were clearly working them out. They actually had a pretty well maintained relationship. I mean, there's issues every couple's gonna have. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. So, obviously he was, keeping himself in shape. So this kind of right here, almost in a way, kind of says that he was still pretty active and he was not really scrawny looking, messed up looking guy that pretty much everybody that's either a suspect or the sister of Como had stated that he was kind of just, looking crazy and looking, worn out and all this. Well, once again, people can look worn out. There's nothing you can do about that. That just happens sometimes.
And see, that's the thing is like if the other part to take note on this too is like, for instance, from what I could see the scene, there was no hollow points. These were all, Full Metal Jacket. So we got Full Metal Jacket bullets kind of being used. Either way, round nose. So at that point, it's being used. They're not gonna like blow a gigantic hole in somebody's head. Especially not with one shot. Two shots are still not gonna totally blow somebody's head up. And that's the thing. So how did Como lose her head then? If we're just gonna go off the theory that David, his head was eaten by Paleo, what happened to Comel's head? Because that's a lot of bone for one little dog to go through. So if we're looking at their bodies have been sitting there, once again, this is like, to go on your theory, the temperature is going to play, I would argue, would play key on this. Because if the bodies can get cold enough, now once again, this is the thing. Let's say the back door, or they have the temperature really low. Somehow, just basically cold temperatures. The bodies are going to be more preserved longer. The decomp time is actually going to go and increase the colder it is in the home. So I'm curious about that, because at that point, if you're going off the decomp time, I think it's, let me bring up the actual thing real quick on the Discord. Okay, so 8 to 10 days, bodies turn from green to red as the blood decomposes in the organs, and the abdomen accumulate gas. Several weeks after death, nails and teeth fall out. So we know we're in between here. If we're looking at Christmas time.
Let me start writing this down, just like so I can kind of just keep a note on a piece of paper. As I'm old school like that. So if we're looking, let's see, when was the last? When was the suspected time we were talking? Exactly, and that's the other thing. Where's the DNA in blood? That doesn't make any sense either. There would have to be a lot covered up, and that's the thing. That's why I'm like, when I'm looking at this infographic I'm making currently right now, which actually, let me bring it up. I'll make a quick image. It's not completed, so the information isn't accurate on it, but I'll bring it up so you guys can all see. Let's save a quick little JPEG. You'll see the cone I made too, so you guys can actually see that as well. Save this as a JPEG. Okay, let's get out of this real quick. We'll get up here. So this is what I've got so far. Like I said, you'll see these are the things I want to pay attention to: the back spray cone, casing nearby, and coagulation. These are going to be there's some things we need to pay attention to with that, because coagulation, this is where we can start getting into can we carbon date? We have enough right there. We should be able to technically carbon date. We just got to kind of figure out about roughly how much is on one drop. I know that there's other ways to do it where you collect it all and we can kind of see it. Once again, we need to see how long, like basically when the reason we're looking at this is how long this is basically going to last. And we can actually kind of trying to figure out along that line, coagulation happens after so much time. So we should be able to actually figure out this is how much blood should have been there with plasma. We just add a little bit more, not much. I think it's called a microliter. I think it's what it is. I don't remember, but basically just a little unit of measurement. We're not looking at like pounds. I don't think we're looking at even a gram. But once again, we're looking at liquid when we're comparing this as well. So we've only got a little bit of blood splatter here. We have some over here. We have some over near the front window. Either way, that's only 2 areas where we're seeing blood. So that would mean there has to be some kind of a cover up. Like there'd have to be bodies where, basically we'll say if they did leave everything the way it was, they just kind of moved things around, maybe some of the furniture, and then laid down some plastic and then basically committed the acts that way. That would explain some things as well. But that's the thing. Some of those types of things you would have to be at the crime scene to see. They didn't move the furniture, so we couldn't see. But as you can see right here, yes, I have the cone right here. It's this big kind of reddish looking area. Back spray is right here. This is just the whole cone for it. Gun looks like it was most likely fired from this range. So you don't see a whole lot of spray here. You see the spray that kind of happens in this general area. And also it shoots out a little bit off on this way as well. So, it's, still working on it. But these are the 3 relevant photos I wanted to go and show for that. This is going to take me 2 infographics to actually make. I was going to just put one giant one together, but I was like, no. So I plan on using these in my videos. So this is, those that are seeing this now, well, now you get a little preview of what's coming in the video. So hopefully you guys like my little infographics. They look quite nice, I think, but yeah, when we're looking at this though, and we got to pay attention to both these, the stages and the timeline. Now the timeline is the one that's going to be altered when it comes to temperature. The colder it is, the longer out this is going to kind of get drug. So, thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, that's the thing when it comes to the theory. If they were killed at an earlier time, they could have been frozen if they were done elsewhere. I'm curious as to whose blood splatters on the ground, though. I'm still trying to go over I've got the information right here. I actually broke it down. Look at medical examination. So if we look at this one right here, this is all the different samples they took. Honestly, there should have been a lot more than that, but the thing is, if you look at which ones were tested, so we're looking at the ones that we need to go and see. Let's see, bloody footprint near counter, that's 14. We're looking for the laptop on island counter. Okay, so that's 23. I know that one wasn't tested. Hallway wall, that's 27. 35, I believe that one wasn't tested as well. And then, of course, we have 50, it's David, 51 is Komel, and 52 is Rania. But see, the thing is, you're noticing here, where's 18? Where's 13? Where's 19? See, these are ones they should have tested. This is spray. Spray is some of the most important information you're going to collect at a homicide scene, especially if this is something that was like a shooting, for instance. Some of the most important information you can have, and they did not test it. They didn't even exactly, and that's the thing. See, there's none. There's none at all. This looks like it was probably blunt force, in my opinion. Now, this is what they're saying. They got some casings on this, but once again, blunt force. You're going to get kind of. The spray is different, Looking at a bullet, yes, technically shooting, that depends on the range. If you're getting from a handgun, all the research I've done on that so far. So is it possible this type of blood splatter to happen like this? Yes, but once again, there would also be entry and exit, and there was no entry-exit blood splatter. There's no pool of blood. Oh, okay. So they did test it. That's interesting news. I was looking at here and I didn't see they tested. That's the part that I found very odd. So I was looking right. Let me see. Okay, never mind. 14, 23, 20. Okay, so it is. Okay, never mind. I'm incorrect there. Stand corrected. So we know this is all Komel. Okay, so if that's true, So we're going off this here. I mean, it's possible with the handgun. It is possible they could have done this, but not. Wait, no, not everything. Yeah, a lot of smiles, huh? um, no, but that's the thing. Is like when it comes, yeah. I actually think it was. I think it was greater than that. When I was counting, I was like, there should have been. So I think there was ones they didn't account for, and they said this number wasn't tested or was untested. I think it was. I think you're right. It was like 16 were tested, and then like they had a number. That's no worries. There was a certain number that wasn't tested, and then there was the ones they didn't even put any information in. Like if it was tested or not. So yeah, like I said, there's just once again, as I say every single show, there's way too many inconsistencies in this case. It's bizarre. There shouldn't be this many. Even when looking at the blood splatter, now we're looking at trajectory. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Either way, no worries, no worries. It's still the whole thing. Once again, trajectory is going to be the big one here because now if we're seeing, we're basically seeing the blood splatter is now it's going past David, and you got one that's going opposite of David. Why two shots like that? That doesn't make any sense. And even then, we're talking. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the exact distance things were shot because of the way the lack of blood is, or there's that factor. There's no blood pool, so we don't actually know where anybody was killed. If they're even killed there, it just looks like they were kind of just dropped off there. Homel's the only one we have their blood there, or that has blood there. But that could have easily just been they brought, they just dropped the bodies off. And then, so that's the thing. So if we're going off that, some things we can note here, which this is why this could also be viable too. I believe there's currently, I think, 2 viable theories. There could be like a third, but I don't think there's any more than 2 that will actually work. I've heard probably 5 or 6 of them, and you can break down most of them. But this is a new one, kind of. So I've got 2 theories in this case, and one of them is basically bodies just dropped off. So if we're looking at bodies just being dropped off, they smeared the blood. Once again, if we go off of, I think it was Greg who had the message. Somebody did. Somebody had the message about from Hendrickson about the whole like mixing blood and water. Now, in my opinion, there's some issues with the smearing. Okay, so I'll bring that up again. I know we're just supposed to go over the reports, and we're already stuck at one report, already talking about everything else. So no worries, though. No worries. It's important. So we look at this. You can see that once again, this is just like it's very, very clear. It's the blood. This is just like we're talking like the red blood cells, things like this. This is what this is. It doesn't look like there's plasma. Plasma once again leaves kind of a yellowish residue. It'll kind of get off the sheen once again. That dries out, but there would be still some left over to some degree, if it was used. But if it's mixed in with water, that's where you're starting to get things that kind of they separate a bit. Things are different at that point, so it's not quite the same thing. So would that make sense? This happened, yes, especially to keep it this because blood doesn't it doesn't last long. So putting it in water is kind of key. But also, this also shows there's coagulated blood all over the place, which once again, even with water, it can still technically coagulate. So once again, there's more to it than just that. Like you throw it in a toilet, well, it's still in the water; it's not going to coagulate. But once you there's not much water there; it's just sitting there in the open air. Yeah, it's going to coagulate like this. But like that would explain the toilet why that's not coagulated, like it's not a giant coagulated mess. So I mean, we're playing. I mean, that's another theory. That's the theory that I'm not really 100% sure. We can't really disprove it. But why would they stage this whole thing then? And that would be another thing. If they really did stage it, we'd have to figure out why. Which means everybody's innocent, but they're playing guilty. Or very, very suspicious. Yeah, but I mean, with David, it's like, why would he? I don't know. I mean, to me, that doesn't make much sense with this. It's odd. Yeah, no, that's the. I mean, that's the thing. I've heard of that theory that they just basically stage the crime themselves. That's why you can't see the faces on David and Rania, but well, not David and Rania, but David and Como, and that's why one hand is missing and all this kind of stuff. But once again, dental records. I mean, they've got the DNA there on the bodies. They tested the bodies, so oh, really? That could just be identity theft, though. At the same time, as we see this, I mean, look at the election. There's plenty of dead people that voted too. Which a background check. Oh, that's really bizarre. I mean, that could very well just be that somebody else is using the. They could just be doing identity theft and then using their name. They got the information and then they basically. And once again, this would explain things like some of the suspects we have. It would explain why things are operating the way they were, how some of them are getting hold of certain information. They're able to get into some things. I mean, that would explain some of the things. But once again, it's also, I mean, if they're getting like emails and stuff, because that was the other bizarre thing. You'd figure the police would not take a picture of his emails and his passwords because now if somebody would. Now the thing is okay. Intellius has been verified and one other. Two of them have merged since then and are basically the same. So, but they're showing up as dead still. Oh, that's the only one that's saying they're dead. The other ones are still saying they're alive. Okay. That's weird. I mean, once again, I mean, this could be. I mean, that would. For that theory to work, that would basically mean they were never on our side. You know what I mean? They were not pro America per se. And everything was just kind of all for show. Really? Do we know who was paying for it? Interesting. We'll have to talk more about that. I don't want to necessarily throw that on the stream, but we'll definitely talk more about that for sure. That is bizarre. And it was his newer phone account. Weird. Wait, that's the alarms then, isn't it? Or is that the newer one? Interesting. That's bizarre. I mean, I can see how that there's parts of that theory that do line up, but I mean that would mean that the daughter would have to be dead. I mean, they found her body. They've got enough DNA there, not blood wise, but the actual body. That would get into a whole different other theory of things. For that to actually work, we'd be looking at all sorts of really controversial things. Things that would, we know they're for a fact they're not fictional, but we'd be looking at like if those aren't them. Okay, I'll play devil's advocate with that theory for right now. It's interesting. It's I can have a little fun with this here. If that really is them, then we're talking, no hands, no faces. Well, Renea's body was still there. She was missing one arm, but her other hand was there. Her body was there, which means if we're looking at all three bodies there, we know their DNA is there. So only way we can actually get identical to a T, identical information like that is through cloning. Okay, so this is me playing devil's advocate here, playing all, like we can run with this for a little bit, but I don't think it's super likely. I do think that's actually them. That is my general opinion. Yeah, and it added up. That's the thing. That I thought was also really, it's like, okay, so that's how they're able to kind of confirm things. But it's that's the only way that would make any sense if they're still alive, that this was like staged by them or by people that they're in cahoots with. And when we're talking, like that whole Freemason connection becomes something else entirely at that point. It doesn't take much to see what the Freemasons are connected to, and oh, that's true. That is very true. But at the same time, they would still have to have, by testing that, it would still have to be Como and David's DNA to some degree. But see, the thing that doesn't add up for me, this is. Oh yeah, no, I'm not 100% sold. I'm not really even 100% sold. Not even close to 100%. I'm willing to go and play around with it for a little bit, but I can't show the bodies, obviously. I can get hit no matter what for that one. So either be Twitch doing it or YouTube or Rumble or any of those. I can be hit because that's something that's prohibited. So, but when looking at the bodies, you can see that it looks like David's body isn't really a fit body. That's so. Like I said, we're playing along with this. Through cloning doesn't necessarily mean somebody's gonna be. Well, exactly. The thing is, I feel that is a theory we have to disprove. Well, we don't have to, but it's really the burden of proof isn't on us per se. It's on the police. So, to prove that he did this, but for this theory, I'm going to take it upon myself to actually disprove it because I'm like 99% sure we can disprove this pretty easily. Because, like I said, this comes down to we'd have to go and look at numerous factors for this to actually be a thing. But this would get into things like cloning. It would get into things like potentially cloning, or once again, there's with recombinant DNA. Now that's the thing with that. Like we talked about that earlier today. Like with recombinant DNA. How that works is that it literally takes the DNA and you can theoretically, if they were working on this then, which we know they were technically. In fact, let me bring that up real quick. I'm curious. See, that's the other oddity, which would mean the police are in on it. And why are they in on it? Once again, that brings in the Freemason connection. So, okay, we'll go look at that technology timeline. Okay, so we were cutting DNA there. First time possible biohazards are recombinant. Okay, boom, 1972. And then, yeah, right here, first recombinant DNA generated. So we know it's been, holy crap. This opens up a can of worms. Because at that point, technically speaking, how it works, you're editing the DNA. You could make the person, they could be different body type, they could be everything different. If they had recombinant DNA in their system long enough while they're alive, they could have their entire genetic sequence edited. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go along with it too, but they could literally have the same DNA as David. But at that point, you'd start to see changes in the body and things like this. It would be bizarre. Like facial structure, would that change? No. Those things would still stay the same, but it's like, for instance, your blood would change. Blood typing wouldn't, which is that's the other really bizarre part. There'd be some complications there. So I would assume if somebody did that and they literally had us a recombinant DNA. Yeah, I'd heard about that too. That's why I was like, oh, this gets into some really creepy territory. But if we were to go down this rabbit hole, then yeah, then that's possible. They could just take another dead body or take somebody who was alive and then have them killed at the scene after it was long enough for the recombinant DNA to fully to basically turn that person's DNA code into that. And once again, they could just be they could just inject that at any point through anything. Like it could have been like any kind of a needle prick, any kind of like a flu shot. It could have been something as simple as that. But that's like the level of planning that goes with that, which we know our government there's multiple governments that would. I mean, that one, that's the thing. That tubing, that's for whatchamacallit. I can actually tell you directly what that tubing's for. That's for, what is it called? I mean, you have to do like transfusion, which is another possibility. For that to be a thing. But no, it's that's for like blood splatter. Like for instance, we got to see that in kind of the making of the Gray State when it was Chris Peck, I think it's who it was. And there was Danny Mason, and like it was the close up of Danny Mason coming down with the axe, and then the blood splatter came out, and that was literally from the mouth of, I believe it was Chris Peck, who spit it in Danny Mason's face. I actually found that seemed quite hilarious, but I was like, yeah, get that guy. But I mean, it's the same reason I also laugh at Bill Gates when he got the pie to the face. That was pretty great. But no, that's directly for that. It's like holding on to the blood, and then you can basically you can launch blood. And that's the thing. See, you can use that with real blood. So that can also explain it. It also explains why it was down there, as they could have been watching it. So I mean, that could have been part of the staging, and they just forgot it. I mean, you can use a lot of the same kind of like acting equipment, if you will, to go and create that same scene. I have no doubt in my mind, because the spray is very odd. But once again, you can recreate that with actual shots, but that's curious though. Holy crap, that is quite the rabbit hole though. I mean, I can see this thing goes down far, but the planning for this would take a great deal of time. Organization, timing. It would also explain why it was so quick to go and close. Like there was pressure. There would have had to have been. This couldn't have been done unless there was like government pressure. And these people would have to be totally okay with it. I would dare say you would need something like the Freemasons or the Rosicrucians, or something. These other kinds of groups, which also in a way, but the thing is, it doesn't explain away Oh man, I'm starting to get some revelations here. If this is true, this could be really devastating. So, okay. Oh, I'm going to get into this then real quick on this. This part of the rabbit hole I'm finding interesting here. This is all connected. The what? Oh, yeah. If it is true, okay, this is where this could be dangerous for anybody looking into this. If this theory is true, this would be incredibly dangerous. As that means we'd have the government on our asses right off the bat for this. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go and pop up my thoughts here. So why not? Um, if that is true, then we're looking at, yeah, exactly. It goes down really deep. I mean, it's not like some of these other rabbit holes I've seen, but it's a really deep rabbit hole, and it's got its own twists and turns, all this that are, and it's little, mazes, of course. But when it comes down to this is, so everybody knows about the Patriot movement by now, right? Oh yeah, and that's fine. I mean, like I said, I'm going to sound like really, really cocky here. This is not my intention. I am trying to expose New World Order entirely. Once again, I'm confident enough that I know I could probably note if something was coming my way. Not necessarily everything, but I feel like I'm confident enough, and I'm paranoid enough that I would see something coming, so I can go and take care of my family and all this kind of stuff. To some degree, at least to some extent, and that's why I've been mentioning to people I'm not suicidal. It's true, I'm not suicidal, not homicidal, and I would never harm my family. That's why I've mentioned this multiple different episodes on this. Same reason, but I am trying to expose them because once again, there's a lot going into this. My theory is if this is the theory that is being true. Holy crap. Well, hopefully. If this is true, that makes the entire Patriot movement planned. And it was used. If this is true. Because David, what was he doing? He was early stages of the Patriot movement. He was one of those people. It's basically how he kind of came off. So if that's true, and he staged all this, and he's still alive, him and his wife and kid are still alive, this is some serious complications because we see Joe Biggs, we see Danny Mason. There's that connection. They get Gray State. They're trying to get that going. Can't ever get it off the ground. Not to mention, by the way, have you seen also that the what's it called? The rise.wiki, that's down now. The video's off the net now. So no, that makes sense. Exactly. Oh. Red flag laws. What are those exactly? Gun control law permits police or family members to petition a state court to order the temporary removal of firearms from a person who may present a danger to others. Oh. Well, dear God. Yeah. Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. And the thing is, everything he was looking at directly covers this. Can't disprove it, we can't prove it. Well, I think we can. I think there's a way. I'm all for exposing the NWO entirely. This is really one of their operations, which, if this is true, this would be one of their operations for sure, without a doubt. Yeah. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. That's true. And to keep it relevant, like he was saying, basically keep it off of the $5 section of the gas station, they couldn't go with the Antichrist route. That also explains why they, yeah. Interesting. Well, we know the brother was a Hillary supporter. We know that for sure. Oh man, this rabbit hole. All right. Well, now there's okay. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is a third viable theory. I'm proven wrong. There's a third viable theory. One I didn't think was actually gonna be viable. Now that we're going over it, this actually makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah. Holy crap. Well, we all know if she got in, there was some of the things she was going to enact. We already know that. Holy crap. Mind blowing. God, it's just like the weirdest feeling when you get those like revelations, just like mid sentence. I'm sorry if I end up, getting those and like, just kind of running with it. I'm going to still investigate. I want to still investigate like he's innocent still, regardless. Because once again, this is a long shot, I would say. No, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense here, but it's proven is the issue on this. We'd have to, like I said, there's this other thing I just recently saw. There's a place, I think it was Venezuela. Either Venezuela or it was like Argentina, something like this. There was a place that was literally supposed to be a place where they were cloning. I know that, and that's the thing. It's another shady one. This once again looking into Pizzagate, for instance. Yeah, I mean this would absolutely make sense. But the thing is, I mean, it's pretty obvious there's no domestic violence. It also explains why Maine's is so quick to. Okay, we were going to be going over the police statements or police reports. We went over a few of them, but it was just basically we're trying to go back and forth between that and the 911 transcripts, and also going over like crime scene photos to see if things actually added up. Yeah, and the ABPD as well, and when it comes down to, I mean, you can see that there's some things that they absolutely add up. So this is just for you right now, Beastness, and all the other viewers that don't really know what's kind of what we're supposed to be going on here. So your identical articles covering. Yeah. So when we're it's all good. It's all good. No, I mean that's the thing. That's interesting. So I'll be looking on this for sure. But when it comes to basically everything we're covering here, we're trying to go and find inconsistencies when it came to the ABPD's reports, BCA's reports, things like that, and actually documenting and showing that, okay, this doesn't add up. This doesn't make any sense here. Based on the crime scene photos, this isn't what happened. Based on what you guys had in these other reports, they're not matching what these other reports are stating. So seeing these inconsistencies, when you're looking at like police reports and things like this, you shouldn't be seeing the inconsistencies, rather. Not between the police reports. When you're seeing like witness statements, if you can cross-reference those and see actually what they believe or what they've said before or in other conversations, things like this, you can start seeing, okay, so they lied to the police or they didn't lie to the police. You can kind of make these decisions and all this, and you can draw a lot of conclusions with that. But it changes kind of like when you're looking at like a crime scene, for instance, if we're looking at suspects, you're basically saying, okay, is this somebody that is telling the truth or they're lying? So can we trust their statements? And then once again, if we're trusting this person's statements, like let's say they've been accurate on 3 statements, all of a sudden this 4th report, you see that, okay, you can prove they're actually incorrect there. Then you can kind of look back, okay, well, this guy's been right up until this point. Why is this all of a sudden wrong? why is this all of a sudden? Why is he lying, or why are they lying? Whatever, and it basically breaks down that way. Then you can start breaking things off. You can start seeing, okay, well, if they're telling the truth, this is where this leads. If they're lying, all this other area we can now explore. So now you, instead of just like, okay, well, we know this guy's been telling the truth so far. So yeah, exactly. So, I mean, at this point, yeah, this is all the reports themselves. The inconsistencies are either going to show that they basically, was there any staging going on? Was there any, like I said, we'll see the inconsistencies, and that's the problem we need to address, is those inconsistencies. So yeah, it's all just about the inconsistencies, because there's way too many in this case. It's like a disgusting amount of inconsistencies in this case. Like I showed off. Oh, we've been digging for probably about like 30 minutes. So something like this. I think it's about 30 minutes. But and we were just digging in just the rabbit holes for this case. But yeah, no, it's like I said, when looking at this case, like you can see things, for instance, blood splatter. You can see the coagulation. You can see directly where this hit. Now, once again, we know that if you're using, for instance, specific types of guns, depending on the range, all this, you can see how far out the blood can go and fire, or rather, how far out it's going to go and like shoot with back splatter, or back spray, as I call it. And then you can also see basically how it's going to kind of fan out the other side. Well, we know we didn't see any fan out at all. This looks like it was literally like you just saw either the back spray, or you just saw that. Yeah, basically that's it. It couldn't have been the exit wound. So, just based on, there was no pools of blood, not to mention that there was the trajectory of the rounds that actually did like land on something, they didn't add up. So oh no, these are my notes here. These are all my notes. These are direct images from that we were actually able to receive from the AVPD. So Marvin Harrison. No, I never heard of it. Let me look it up. Curious. Marvin Harrison. Was he killed, or? Marvin Harrison homicide. The suspect in the murder was caught on a security camera and a nearby convenience store. The shadows make it difficult to identify the person. Okay. It was Marvin Harrison. Okay. Let's see. Interesting. That's something I might have to look into. No, but I make all the own infographics, all this. That's what this is here. I made this. I make all my own infographics, but these are actual like direct scene parts of the scene of the crime. So we're just kind of analyzing it to see, okay, is this possible? And so far, I mean, most people have looked at this and they've just been like, no. We've had I don't remember, something Maines, Kenneth Maines. He looked at the oh, thank you. yeah, I do a lot of research on this. Like, I got there was this too. I don't know if you saw this one. Let me bring it up. Oops. So you can see this. It's a little more clear. Yeah, this is what's actually on the wall. So I kind of just show off smear pattern. What it would have been possible to actually do with one hand or just two, things like this, and it kind of show how this is not possible with one hand. This is actually possible with two hands, but not one. So, but that's yeah, this is something I've been trying to work on for a few weeks, trying to get these things pumped out. But yeah, I do appreciate the compliment though. I'll have to look at the Marvin Harrison case. That's it's interesting. But they basically DA just called it off for unreliable witnesses though. That sucks. That really sucks. Yeah, that's basically what we got for tonight. Tomorrow I'm planning on getting some more of the infographics done, covering more directly on the blood splatter. I do want to go and finish covering the police reports, but once again we'll have to finish that at a later time. So let's continue that tomorrow, and we'll also have like blood splatter as part of the other part of the episode as well. So, but yeah, I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's only got about 5 minutes left, so but yeah, we'll be back, like I said, tomorrow at 10 p.m. So if you guys are interested in seeing more on the police reports, tomorrow is the night. We're going to be doing some more cross-referencing, and then, like I said, I'll be finishing up a few other things that we'll be showing off tomorrow as well. Also, if you guys are interested in the Discord, you can see that on the overlay with the Discord symbol. It looks like a game controller. It's actually got an infinite link to it. So, and then yeah, if you guys want, you guys can also check me out on YouTube, Rumble. I don't have Odyssey or BitChute up on my overlay. I plan on editing that most likely tonight. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Oh, the Discord. I can just go like this. Yeah, let's leave it for an hour. Give it like 5 uses. And all right, well, you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Here's the link in case you guys want to go and just hop in real quick. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a wonderful night.